Winnifred Teo Suan Lee, born in 1967, was the middle child in a family of 5, with an older sister, Martina, and a younger brother, Gerald. At 18, she was completing her final year at Catholic Junior College in Singapore. Her father, Teo Ju Kim, was a timber company director, and her family was actively engaged in education and faith. Winnifred regularly attended St Ignatius Church on King's Road. In 1985, her sister Martina was studying abroad in Australia, while her brother Gerald was a student at St Joseph's Institution. Described by teachers and peers as bright, responsible, and well-liked, Winnifred was a student counsellor who thrived in both academics and outdoor activities. Known for her long, dark hair and sun-kissed skin, features that sometimes led others to assume she was Eurasian, Winnifred was in fact Chinese-Singaporean. Despite a demanding school schedule, she remained committed to physical fitness, often jogging in the evenings to train for an upcoming school adventure camp she was excited about. Multiple regulars along Holland Road, a well-known route favoured by solo female joggers, recalled seeing Winnifred during her frequent evening runs or bike rides. Among them were 16-year-old Tan Meng Yan from Anglo-Chinese school and 2 brothers, 20-year-old Chow Ta Jin and his younger sibling, 16-year-old Chow Tar Wee. The brothers remembered her as an attractive girl with long flowing hair, often dressed in short athletic wear and distinctive pink running shoes. Though Winnifred stood out in their memory, they never approached her, describing her appearance as serious and somewhat unapproachable. Bukit Batok Park was one jogging route Winnifred enjoyed taking regularly and was approximately 1.5 kilometres or just under 1 mile from her home on Maryland Drive. The park is a peaceful green haven developed around an abandoned quarry and is known for its lush trails, scenic lookout points and tranquil atmosphere. On the evening of the 22nd of May 1985, Winnifred left her family's home on Maryland Drive around 6 p.m. for her usual jog, heading towards Bukit Batok Nature Park. This would be the last time her mother would see her alive. As night fell and darkness settled over the neighbourhood, Winnifred's mother grew increasingly anxious. When hours passed with no sign of her daughter, worry turned to panic, sensing that something was terribly wrong. After 14 hours with no word from Winnifred, her mother's fears deepened. At 4 a.m. on May the 23rd, she contacted the police to report her daughter missing. Officers from the Tanglin Police Division launched an immediate search in the areas Winnifred was known to frequent during her jogs. 6 hours later, the search ended in tragedy. Winnifred's lifeless body was discovered in the undergrowth off Old Holland Road, roughly 4 metres from the roadside and about 1.5 kilometres from her home. She was found unclothed, her body covered in mud and bruises, with 6 stab wounds to her neck. Her hands had been bound with her own t-shirt, and her shoes, shorts and watch were scattered nearby. Investigators believed she had been sexually assaulted before being killed. It was thought that Winnifred was killed sometime between 6 p.m. on May 22nd and 11:30 a.m. the following morning. Winnifred's tragic death sent waves of grief through her family and school community. Students and teachers at Catholic Junior College were devastated, and the school had a period of mourning, granting early dismissals to help students cope with the loss. Her father, who had been away on a business trip in Munich, immediately returned to Singapore. More than 500 mourners, including relatives, friends and classmates, gathered at her funeral to pay their respects. Those who knew her remembered Winnifred as a beloved and exemplary final year student at Catholic Junior College. The school's principal at the time, Brother Joseph Keeley, called her a, quote, natural leader, a fitting description given her role as the school council's treasurer alongside active participation in volleyball and softball. The Straits Times reported that her classmates affectionately nicknamed her the girl with the Hawaiian looks, inspired by her long flowing hair and sun-kissed skin. Tan Meng Yan, a fellow jogger who often saw Winnifred around the jogging trails, shared with reporters in 1985, quote, "She always wore pink track shoes with a headband. She was pretty. Her long hair almost touched her waist and it would swing with each step she took. Sometimes she tied it in pigtails." Not only was Winnifred a model student, but also a cherished daughter and sister whose life and bright future were cruelly cut short. The brutality of her murder deeply unsettled the public and prompted swift responses from educational institutions. Raffles Junior College advised its 1,700 students, especially female students, to avoid being alone and to walk in groups of at least 2 or 3. Warnings were also issued to avoid secluded paths and shortcuts. Similar safety advisories were adopted by other schools across Singapore. Winnifred's murder case was handed over to the Special Investigation Section of the Criminal Investigation Department, also known as CID, highlighting its urgency and complexity. With limited leads, the police announced a reward of 50,000 Singaporean dollars for new information that could lead to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. The offer, which was valid until the end of 1985, unfortunately yielded no significant breakthroughs. Police conducted extensive interviews with regular joggers and others who frequented the same routes Winnifred used, hoping to uncover any leads. Despite their efforts, no viable suspects emerged. 2 individuals were questioned regarding Winnifred's murder, however they were both subsequently released and cleared of any involvement. At one point, a man known for indecently exposing himself to female joggers in the area was taken into custody. However, he was soon released after investigators found no link between him and Winnifred's murder. A post-mortem conducted by pathologist Clarence Lim revealed devastating details. Winnifred had been sexually assaulted and likely attacked by more than one individual. Her injuries showed clear signs of a struggle, indicating she had fiercely resisted her assailants during both the assault and fatal stabbing. The murder weapon, believed to be a sharp-edged object, was never recovered despite an intensive search. More than 200 officers were involved in the manhunt, but the case remained unsolved. By 1987, the case remained open but stagnant, with police still actively reviewing evidence, yet struggling with a lack of new information. In a 1991 coroner's court hearing, authorities confirmed that the investigation had made no significant progress. No clear motive could be identified, although there was speculation that her murder might have been tied to a business dispute involving her father, who was said to be particularly close to Winnifred, but this theory was ultimately dismissed. Over the years, various other theories have emerged regarding Winnifred's murder, with one suggesting the possibility of a serial killer operating in the area. This idea gained traction in February 2000, when 27-year-old financial executive Linda Chua was viciously attacked and sexually assaulted while jogging in Bukit Batok Nature Park, the same area Winnifred was last seen. Chua later died from her injuries after spending 8 days in hospital. Given the eerie similarities between the 2 cases, both victims were young women targeted while jogging in the same park. Investigators considered the possibility that the same perpetrator could be behind both attacks. This led to speculation that Winnifred may have been an early victim of a serial offender. However, a closer examination of Chua's autopsy revealed key differences in how the attacks were carried out. As a result, the theory of a serial killer connection was ultimately dismissed. Traction was gained in regards to the theory suggesting that Winnifred's murder might have been linked to her father's business rivals, as reported by the Singapore Monitor. Police sources speculated, quote, "They might have wanted to get back at his family members while he was out on overseas business." At the time, Winnifred was the second daughter of Mr. Teo Kim, who served as managing director at CO.AG Brothers, a timber firm. Mr. Teo dismissed these claims and urged the media to, quote, check their facts carefully first. Winnifred Teo's murder remains one of Singapore's most haunting and well-known cases. Her death drew parallels with later tragedies, including the unsolved 1998 sexual assault and murder of Dini Hariati and the 2000 killing of Linda Chua, both women attacked while alone outdoors, much like Winnifred. These similarities sparked ongoing public concern about the safety of women in secluded areas. In 2021, renewed interest in unsolved crimes gripped the nation following developments in two high-profile cases: the long unsolved 1995 sexual assault and murder of 7-year-old Lim Xiao Rong, and the arrest of Ahmad Daniel Mohammed Rafai in connection with the disappearance and suspected 2007 murder of Felicia Teo Wei Ling. These events reignited public attention on other unresolved cases, including those of Winnifred, Dini, and Linda, highlighting the painful absence of justice for their families. To this day, Winnifred Teo's killer remains unidentified, and her case continues to stand as a chilling reminder of a crime that has yet to find closure.